Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mindset Forge, a podcast where we discuss the best ideas of humanity, the most useful practices, and the most skillful means for developing a more well-adjusted and adaptive mindset. To do this, I will be discussing latest science, ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time, as well as the thoughts and actions of important historical paragons. The goal is to give you tools and practices and ideas for your self-improvement, with the goal of moving ahead the entire humanity. Our discussion will focus on the ideas and practices with the most cash value, so practices that are easy to take up but hold enormous potential. And since most of these practices have to do with changing your thinking and attitudes, they are completely free. Call me Laurent Lohel, I will be your host, and welcome aboard. Also, make sure to like Mindset Forge on Spotify and YouTube, as well as check out our Discord server, where you can find links to my book, which you can buy on Amazon to support my another side enterprise of being a fiction author. Without further ado, let's get to the episode. Mindset Forge, episode 18, Superman, Superior Man, and You. What is great in man is that he is a bridge and not an end. Friedrich Nietzsche. Welcome to the Mindset Forge, the podcast that takes you on a journey of self-improvement, delving into the realms of philosophy, psychology, and neuroscience, all to help you maximize your potential and navigate through life with a clear compass. Today we've got quite an intriguing topic to explore. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself what your highest potential might look like? Have you ever wondered how high you could aim? How do we even define the pinnacle of human potential? Today we set out on a journey to answer these questions, a journey that will span across centuries and traverse the globe, delving into various cultures, ideologies and philosophies. In our quest for self-improvement, it's beneficial, if not crucial, to have a target, an ideal towards which we can strive. However, what this ideal looks like can greatly differ based on our cultural, philosophical or individual perspectives. Today we'll explore various models of human ideals, from the Stoic sage of ancient Greece to the enlightened being in Buddhism, from Ayn Rand's hero in Atlas Shrugged to the new Soviet man of communist ideology, and many more. Each model presents a unique vision of what an ideal human being could be, shaped by the specific historical, cultural and philosophical contexts from which they emerged. However, as diverse as these models are, you might be surprised to find that there are threads of similarity weaving through them, illuminating universal values and shared human aspirations. So, whether you are on the path of self-improvement or merely curious about the multifaceted nature of human potential, this episode is for you. As we journey through these various models of human ideals, may you find inspiration, may you gain insight, and perhaps may you see a reflection of your own potential within them. Although for the most of you, the goal you strive for is something more commonplace, like procrastinating less, these lofty goals can surely give you some inspiration, maybe even motivation, when you understand what heights you can achieve if you put your mind to it. So let's dive in and uncover the tapestry of human potential. As we embark on this exploration of human ideals, let's begin on familiar territory. The contemporary Western world, shaped significantly by modern media, seems to present its own model of an ideal citizen, which could be aptly termed as the sustainable citizen. In the age of growing environmental consciousness, economic fluctuations, and social awareness, the image of a sustainable citizen emerges as someone who balances personal ambition with collective responsibility. This ideal is often characterized by eco-friendly lifestyle choices, strong community involvement, ongoing education, and professional ambition. They are environmentally conscious, reducing their carbon footprint, opting for renewable resources, and endorsing sustainable consumption. They are socially aware, advocating for equality, justice, and inclusivity. Professionally, their ambitions embracing lifelong learning, thriving in digital economy, and balancing the pursuit of individual prosperity with the well-being of their community. While this ideal seems quite tame compared to some of the others we are going to discuss, and certainly has more of an ideological and consumerist connotation to it, understanding it can help you understand the world we live in. It is a certain type of a mindset, and as such deserves to be mentioned. But to me at least, a journey of self-improvement is about more than taking the rainforest in account when shopping. But it's crucial to note that this is an evolving ideal, one that reflects our current societal challenges, scientific understanding, and collective aspirations. As such, it's less of a fixed model and more of a fluid, ever-adapting vision of what we could strive to become in a rapidly changing world. Yet, while this modern ideal might seem unique to our times, it echoes themes found in many other models of human ideals from different eras and cultures. Let's delve deeper and uncover some of these parallels as we explore other ideals. Now, let's dive into the realm of philosophy and literature. Ayn Rand's objectivism paints a compelling portrait of the ideal individual. The objectivist hero, embodied by characters like John Galt in Atlas Shrugged, is guided by reason, self-interest, and personal ambition. These individuals are self-reliant, independent thinkers who stand firm in their convictions, irrespective of societal pressure. They pursue their happiness and success without compromise and refuse to sacrifice their values and principles for the sake of others. The objective hero celebrates individualism and champions personal freedom. They embody the belief that it's through personal ambition and rational self-interest that the greater good is ultimately served. Contrast this with the ideal individual in the former Soviet Union. This person is driven by collective goals, public duty, and social responsibility. As heroes in socialist realism literature, they are hard-working, committed, and loyal to the state and their comrades. They exhibit a strong sense of community, and their success is measured not by personal gain, but by their contribution to the advancement of the collective. Individual ambition takes a back seat to shared progress, and the ideal is less about self-actualization and more about collective fulfillment. Here we find an interesting dichotomy: the rugged individualism and self-interest of the objectivist hero against the communal solidarity and self-sacrifice of the Soviet ideal. Yet both are tied to a larger purpose: the advancement of the human spirit, whether it be through individual freedom or collective progress. And it's fascinating to realize that in the end, both the objectivist hero and the Soviet ideal are actually working towards the same goal: improving the lives of their fellow citizens. The means may be different, but the end is surprisingly similar. In capitalism, the objectivist hero's pursuit is personal ambition, guided by rational self-interest, fuels innovation and creates wealth. This, in turn, drives economic growth and prosperity, benefiting the society as a whole. Even though the primary motivation is personal success, the ripple effect brings benefit to others. Similarly, in communist or socialism, at least in the ideal, principle. The selfless, tireless work of the ideal citizen contributes directly to the welfare of the collective. Their work is guided by a strong sense of duty to their community, and while they may not personally reap all the benefits of their labor, they know that their efforts are helping to advance the common good. So here we have it, capitalism and communism, so often presented as starkly contrasting ideologies, actually share a common trait in their human ideals. Both see the value of hard work and both ultimately aim to improve society, though they approach this aim from different angles. It's a remarkable example of how, even amidst our diversity and disagreement, there are underlying human values and aspirations that bind us all. And it's these shared values that we'll keep exploring as we delve into the other human ideals from different cultures and ideologies. Now, let's journey back in time to the Renaissance, a period of cultural rebirth and intellectual flowering that started in Italy during the 14th century and later spread throughout Europe. Here we encounter a fascinating human ideal, the Renaissance man. The Renaissance period was marked by a profound shift in worldview. People started breaking free from the shackles of medieval scholasticism and dogma, and they began embracing humanism, a movement that emphasized human potential and achievement. This led to the development of the concept of the universal man or Renaissance man, often epitomized by figures like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. The ideal Renaissance man was someone who excelled in multiple fields: arts, sciences, politics, and physical accomplishments. He was expected to be well versed in literature, classical philosophy, and history, but also capable of engaging with emerging scientific ideas and technologies. A deep appreciation for aesthetics was combined with an understanding of mechanical principles. One defining characteristic of the Renaissance man was curiosity. They were driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge and a desire to explore and understand the world around them. This led to unprecedented advancements in various fields, from art and literature to science and technology. The legacy of the Renaissance man still echoes in our culture today. The idea that one can and should master multiple disciplines has been influential in shaping Western education, with its emphasis on a broad-based learning. This concept also resonates with the modern idea of lifelong learning, a recognition that in our rapidly changing world we must continually learn and adapt. Also, it has been noted that nowadays, when so much information is easily accessible via the internet, the value of being specialized in some narrow field diminishes, while those with the capability to connect the findings and knowledge of different fields increases. However, it's also worth noting that the ideal of the Renaissance man presents a daunting challenge. In today's world, the sheer volume of knowledge in any given field can make it seem impossible to achieve proficiency in multiple areas. Yet, the Renaissance man's spirit of curiosity, love for learning, and a desire to push boundaries remains an inspiring ideal, reminding us of the vast potential of the human mind. Now we come to an interesting point. What we have been exploring so far are ideals shaped by cultures and philosophies, but should one try to mold oneself strictly according to these pre-established models? Is self-improvement just picking one of these ideals, like ordering lunch at a McDonald's drive-thru and then just being happy with what you are given? To take this question further, let's dive into the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche and his concept of the Übermensch or Overman, also called Superman. For Nietzsche, the true human potential lies not in adhering to external standards, but in the individual's capacity to create their own values and make their own meaning in life. The Übermensch, Nietzsche's ideal human, is someone who has the strength of will to break free from traditional norms and values and create their own. The Übermensch does not simply reject society's rules out of rebellion, but crafts a personal code of ethics based on a deep understanding of life and the human condition. They rise above the herd, not to dominate, but to become a self-determined individual who lives according to their authentic nature. Now it's essential to note that Nietzsche's Übermensch is not an easy ideal to aspire to. It demands a high degree of self-awareness, courage, and resilience. It also requires one to embrace solitude and accept the potential for misunderstanding or even outright rejection by society. However, the concept of the Übermensch offers a liberating perspective. It reminds us that we are not bound to the ideals set up by our culture or societies. We have the power and freedom to explore, to question, to create, and ultimately to define our own ideal and break free. It's crucial to recognize that the ideal of the Superman does not exist in isolation. It is intimately connected to other central Nietzschean concepts such as amor fati and eternal recurrence. Amor fati, or love of fate, is the idea that one should fully embrace every aspect of life, including suffering and loss, and not just seek out pleasure or happiness. For Nietzsche, the Übermensch embodies this notion of amor fati. It is a being who has the strength to fully affirm life with all its joys, sorrows, and uncertainties. The ideal of the Übermensch is not about escapism or seeking some illusory paradise, but about fully engaging with life in its totality. Moreover, Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence feeds into this idea. This thought experiment invites us to imagine that we had to live our lives over and over again, exactly as they are for all eternity. This can be a horrifying prospect if we are living lives of regret or resentment. However, for the Übermensch who fully loves and affirms life, this prospect is welcomed and even celebrated. As we have discussed before, when making a decision, you could ask yourself, which option could I pick over and over again and still be proud over it? This can help you understand what is truly important for you and help you make choices you are satisfied with. Beyond these philosophical underpinnings, Nietzsche also paints a more tangible portrait of the Übermensch. In his writings, this figure is often associated with lightning and laughter, symbols of power and joy. The Übermensch is depicted as brave, but also possessing a lightness of spirit and a keen sense of humor. This figure is forgiving, showing strength in their ability to let go of resentment. These characteristics are not just moral virtues, but they also contribute to good, robust health. In Nietzsche's view, our physical vitality and our philosophical outlook are closely intertwined. This portrayal of the Übermensch gives us a vibrant picture of Nietzsche's human ideal, one that is characterized by strength of will, acceptance of life, and a capacity for joy, even amidst the turmoil of existence. Remember, the journey of self-improvement is not about finding the best ideology and trying to fit into it. It's about creating a unique individual path, staying true to your deepest self and continually evolving along the way. Let's set sail now and travel back in time to the ancient city-states of Greece, where Stoicism was born. The Stoics were philosophers who gave us profound insights into how we should live and what we should aspire to. The Stoic ideal is rooted in virtue and wisdom. The sage, as they referred to the ideal, is an individual who lives in harmony with nature and acts in accordance with reason. The sage understands the difference between what is within their control and what is not, and directs their efforts accordingly. This understanding allows them to maintain inner peace regardless of external circumstances. They endure hardships with grace, take pleasure without excess, and perform their duties with diligence and integrity. In the face of life's uncertainties, the Stoic sage remains unperturbed. They understand that wealth, status, health, and even life itself are fleeting and not under our direct control, but our judgments, intentions, and actions. Those are up to us. This is where the Stoic focuses their attention and effort. Today, Stoicism's influence can still be felt. Its teachings echo in modern psychological practices such as cognitive behavioral therapy and in many self-improvement philosophies. The essence of Stoicism, acceptance, resilience, and focusing on what we can control, serves as a powerful guidepost in our quest for personal growth. Stoicism teaches us to value wisdom and virtue above all else. It reminds us that our peace of mind comes not from the events of the world around us, but from how we choose to perceive and respond to them. In that, there's a sense of freedom, empowerment, and yes, a route to becoming our ideal selves in harmony with the world. We now travel to another cultural sphere entirely, but the ideal still would ring familiar to the Stoic sage as our voyage now takes us to the east, to ancient China, to the era of Taoism and the emergence of the concept of the superior man or Yunzi of Confucianism. The superior man in Taoism, much like the Stoic sage, emphasizes inner harmony and alignment with the natural order. But while Stoicism advocates for the dominion of reason, Taoism embodies a more intuitive, spontaneous approach to life, promoting the idea of Wu Wei or non-action, which is not about inaction but rather about action without effort or effortless doing. The superior man or master embodies the Tao, the natural way of the universe. He moves with the ebb and flow of life, unresisting and unhurried. He remains unperturbed by gain or loss, joy or sorrow. He navigates life with serenity that comes from being in harmony with the Tao. This Taoist ideal is not driven by external validation or material gain, but by the internal compass of integrity and balance. The superior man's decisions are not reactive, but are instead in effortless alignment with the natural flow of life, a state of being that promotes inner peace and outward harmony. The superior man teaches us that there is wisdom in yielding, strength in softness, and power in silence. Much like the Stoic sage, the superior man emphasizes inner tranquility and alignment with nature, marking a departure from the more outwardly driven Western ideals. While on the surface it may seem to be in stark contrast with the notion of goal-oriented self-improvement, it serves as a reminder that the path to our highest self often lies in quiet reflection, intuitive wisdom, and harmonious coexistence with the world around us. Now let's embark on a journey towards an understanding of a concept that is central to many Eastern philosophies, but may feel slightly elusive in a Western context. Enlightenment or awakening. Across Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, and other traditions, this ideal of reaching an elevated state of consciousness has been described using various terms, but many scholars and practitioners would argue that they are all pointing to a fundamentally similar experience. In Buddhism, a person who has reached this pinnacle of understanding is known as a Buddha, which translates to the awakened one. This awakening refers to a deep, comprehensive understanding of reality, a profound insight that cuts through the illusions of the external world as well as our inner mental fabrications. Becoming An awakened one is not just about intellectual understanding, but about a radical transformation of one's entire being. It means to be fully present, fully compassionate, and fully attuned to the impermanent, interconnected nature of existence. It's about transcending our common dualistic way of seeing this versus that, me versus you, inside versus outside, and realizing a state of non-duality where we recognize our profound connection with everything around us. One can find striking parallels between this Buddhist concept of awakening and the Taoist principle of following the Tao. Both involve a kind of emptiness, but not in a negative sense. This emptiness is about making space, clearing out the mental clutter and biases, letting go of the incessant need of control, and opening up to the natural flow of life. It also entails the understanding that nothing exists by itself independently. This state of emptiness is full of potential, like a vessel that can be filled with any experience, moment to moment, without resistance. These Eastern ideals remind us that our highest potential may not be about reaching a particular destination, achieving a certain status, or acquiring a set amount of knowledge. Instead, it may be about our ability to remain open, present, and adaptable, to dance with the flow of life, and to embody wisdom and compassion in every moment. These are ideals that offer not just a model of perfection, but a way of being that can transform our everyday experience. As we have been traversing centuries and cultures in search for different human ideals, there seems to be some threads that unite them, albeit seen from different perspectives. One thread is an emphasis on non-attachment, a harmonious existence with the natural flow of the universe, and finding beauty and joy in what is, as opposed to yearning for the what could be. In Eastern philosophies such as Buddhism and Taoism, we saw this through the lens of emptiness. Rather than a nihilistic void, emptiness refers to the interconnectedness of all things and the illusory nature of our perceptions. It's about relinquishing the need for control, letting go of clinging and aversion, and embracing reality as it is. Nietzsche, on the other hand, didn't use the language of non-attachment per se, but his teaching of amor fati, or love of fate, holds a similar note. Instead of rejecting the harsh realities of life, Nietzsche encourages us to embrace them, even to love them. He offers the perspective of the tragic hero, finding beauty in struggle and pain. His concept of eternal recurrence instills an acceptance of life as it is, leading to a life lived fully and passionately, a life one would choose to live over and over again. The Stoics too practiced living in accordance with nature. They sought peace not by controlling external circumstances, but by mastering their internal responses to them. They saw virtue in accepting the world as it is, while striving to maintain their integrity and tranquility, and letting go of trying to get fame and wealth and other outwardly accomplishments. Even the Randian hero of objectivism, in essence, just follows what comes naturally to them as they perform their tireless work. These people love their jobs, despite all the difficulties they face, and working is their way of following their nature. Lastly, even in our modern notion of the sustainable citizen, we see traces of these ancient ideals. The sustainable citizen takes into account the well-being of the whole planet when making decisions, suggesting an awareness of interconnectedness and an aspiration to live harmoniously with the natural order of things. While these ideals were born in vastly different contexts and carry their unique features, they all seem to echo the same truth, that genuine contentment comes from understanding and living in tune with the rhythms of the universe, rather than against them. This journey across human ideals reveals Yet another common theme, the quest to see through illusions. This quest emerges, it seems, from an understanding that our reality is often shaped more by our perceptions and beliefs than by any objective truth. Nietzsche famously criticized the societal norms and moral laws, suggesting they are nothing more than products of historical and biological circumstances, a form of control rather than moral truth. A dimension of immorality masquerading as morality. To become the Ubermensch, one must see through these illusions and create their own values. In the East, the Tao Te Ching articulates how once humans lose touch with the Tao, they resort to cleverness, morality and piety, constructs that fall short of the profound simplicity and truth of the Tao. Buddhism also espouses the concepts of emptiness, a direct recognition of the ultimate nature of reality, free from the distortions of our conditioned minds. The classical Greek philosophers carried through to the Renaissance placed a great emphasis on the pursuit of knowledge and truth. They championed the use of human intellect and reason to understand the world. This tradition gave birth to the scientific method, a rigorous approach to inquiry that seeks to minimize bias and uncover objective truths, to see through our misconceptions. In the Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand tells us how the hero is only as successful as they are right, meaning that those who believe in illusions and act contrary to nature are doomed to fail. In the book, this leads to the downfall of entire nations, as they willingly act in ways born from delusions. All these ideals, whether Eastern or Western, ancient or modern, point to a shared aspiration to see the world clearly, free from illusion. This discernment enables us to navigate the world more skillfully, to make more informed choices, and ultimately to live more fulfilling lives. Yet another common thread we find weaving its way through these diverse human ideals is the theme of selflessness, of working for the benefit of others. This principle of altruism manifests in various forms across these cultural and philosophical landscapes. As the Stoic philosophers spoke about the importance of living virtuously and acting in the interest of society, they saw humanity as a collective entity, an interconnected web where the actions of one could significantly impact the many. To the Stoics, serving others was a moral obligation intrinsic to their conception of a virtuous life. Modern ideals, such as those embodied in objectivism and communism, also emphasize societal contributions, though they might approach it from different angles. The heroes of Ayn Rand's objectivist philosophy, for instance, create material wealth that indirectly benefits society through innovation and economic growth. The ideal citizen of communist society, in theory, works directly for the collective good, creating value that is shared among the people. In Eastern philosophies like Taoism and Buddhism, the ideal individual transcends selfish desires and acts in ways that benefit others. They strive to let go of personal attachments and egoistic pursuits, becoming channels through which the natural flow of the universe operates for the good of all. Even Nietzsche's Ubermensch, often seen as a celebration of individualism, is not devoid of this principle. The character of Zarathustra in Nietzsche's works ventures into the world to share his insights and help humanity, after the death of God, to navigate their own paths. All these ideologies, diverse as they are, converge on this fundamental truth that our fulfillment is intrinsically connected to the well-being of others. Whether this is about creating societal value, sharing wisdom, or simply living harmoniously with others, the essence of these ideals suggests that serving others in some form or another is integral to our humanity. As we delve deeper into our exploration of human ideals, it becomes clearer that there's a spectrum that spans from the materialistic to the spiritual. On one end, we have ideals like the sustainable citizen, the objectivist hero of Ayn Rand, the Soviet worker, and the Renaissance man. These represent more materialistic ideals focusing on production, consumption, and often excelling in some specific area of research or creation. In many ways, these are the goals that our modern society pushes us towards: to be productive, to achieve, to be successful in a material sense. And indeed, there's a certain allure to the image of being a titan of industry or a respected figure in society, possessing wealth and power. Yet, these extrinsic goals, as they are called, require validation from the outside world, depend on external circumstances, and as studies have shown, they can sometimes be associated with more emotional distress. On the other end of the spectrum, we have ideals like Nietzsche's Superman, the Stoic sage, and the enlightened beings of Eastern philosophies. These represent more spiritual or intrinsic goals, focusing on the development of the self, of our consciousness and our inner world. The beauty of these ideals is that they are self-contained. They don't require validation from others or depend on external circumstances. They are about becoming rather than achieving. And studies have shown that these intrinsic goals are linked to higher levels of well-being and satisfaction. So, good listeners, as you contemplate your own guiding star, your own human ideal, remember to balance these two ends of the spectrum. While it's entirely valid and fulfilling to pursue extrinsic goals, approach them with a degree of non-attachment. Consider also cultivating intrinsic motivations for what you do. For example, in creating this podcast, while it's tempting to focus on numbers, listenership, and revenue, I find it more fulfilling to focus on the process itself, the joy of learning, improving my writing and language skills, and the potential of making a positive impact on listeners. These intrinsic motivations, when aligned with our actions, can turn even the most mundane tasks into fulfilling endeavors. So, whether you are pursuing the path of a Stoic sage or dreaming of becoming a titan of industry, remember that every journey begins and ends within yourself. As we begin to wrap up today's journey through the landscape of human ideals, I want you, good listener, to remember that the most important goal in your life is your own. These ideals and philosophies we have explored today are not a roadmap but a compass, offering possible directions for your journey. It's perfectly valid to have goals that focus on immediate, tangible results like achieving more productivity, maintaining a consistent sleep schedule, or overcoming addictive behaviors. These smaller goals are steps toward becoming a better version of yourself, and each one is a victory to be celebrated. But for those of you who feel drawn to loftier goals, who seek a guiding star to orient your journey, remember that even the highest peaks are reached one step at a time. The Renaissance man, the objectivist hero, the Soviet worker, these ideals represent extrinsic goals, achievements to be made in the outside world. Yet, as studies have shown, such goals, while fulfilling in their own way, can sometimes be associated with a higher degree of emotional distress. On the other hand, ideals like the Stoic sage, the Taoist superior man, the Buddhist awakened one, or Nietzsche's Superman represent intrinsic goals. They are about an inner transformation, a shift in your perception and alignment with the universe's natural flow. And these types of goals have been shown to bring a deeper sense of satisfaction and emotional well-being. I must confess, the concept of the Ubermensch, Nietzsche's Superman, had such a profound impact on me when I was younger that it changed the way I view the world. It ignited within me the aspiration not just to uplift myself but to contribute to humanity's collective advancement. And it's this aspiration that led me to create this podcast, to share knowledge and insights that I believe can help each one of us on our journey of self-improvement. I wish to be a Dr. Erskine to your Captain America, so to speak. In essence, this podcast is my humble attempt at reaching towards that lofty goal, an effort to be a tiny part of the wave that lifts all boats. So, wherever you are in your journey, I hope this episode has given you some food for thought and maybe, just maybe, helped you see the stars a little bit clearer. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Mindset Forge, and until next time, keep reaching for those stars. And thank you for listening to this episode of the Mindset Forge. I hope you found it informative and the lessons and practices spoken in it relevant to your situation. I also hope you found it as entertaining to listen as I found making it to be. If you found it beneficial, be sure to follow Mindset Forge on Spotify as well as on YouTube, where you can also give us a thumbs up. Also, make sure to check out our Discord server for further discussion, where you can contact me directly. Links in description and channel information. There you can also find the link to my book, which I have self-published on Amazon, called Death Tribe. If speculative dystopian near-future sci-fi sounds like a cup of tea, getting the book is a great way to support my work as an author. So have a nice day and memento cerebrum formare.